He just exposed the FBI's deepest secrets, unraveling the corruption within our government. From Epstein's trafficking network to political assassinations, the truth is about to surface. Stay tuned.
You and the FBI, working with state and local law enforcement officials in Utah, have caught the assassin of Mr. Charlie Kirk. Is that right?
We have a suspect, yes, sir.
And you did that within 48 hours, did you not?
33 hours.
33 hours. Congratulations. We've had other political assassinations. Back in June, an assassinated Representative Melissa Hoffman, Mr. Hoffman, Senator John Hoffman, and Mrs. Hoffman in Minnesota. You and the FBI and Minnesota state and local law enforcement officials caught the assassin within 48 hours, did you not?
I believe that timeline's correct, Senator.
Congratulations. Sometimes we miss the forest for the trees. Good work. Did Mr. Kirk's assassin act alone?
As I've said since the beginning, Senator, it is very much an ongoing investigation, and I can't speak to the state charges. That's for the state to address on their own, but we are providing them with the same investigatory findings reporting the department. And as I noted to Senator, I believe it was Cornyn or Hawley, that there are a number of individuals that are currently being investigated and interrogated, and a number yet to be investigated and interrogated specific to that chat room. So we are very much in our ongoing posture of investigation.
So others could have been involved?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I asked you this last time you were here. Kash, you remember Mr. Peter Strzok and Ms. Lisa Page?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Strzok was an FBI agent. Ms. Page was an FBI lawyer. They were both very aggressive anti-Trump political activists who allowed their political opinions to affect their work at the FBI. Is that a fair statement?
I believe their text messages and their testimony that was secured by the OIG and DOJ speak for themselves.
In fact, Mr. Strzok and Ms. Page were having an extramarital affair, and at one point, Ms. Page texted Mr. Strzok, quote, "Trump's not ever going to be president, right? Right?" And Mr. Strzok replied, no, he won't. We will stop it, end quote. Ms. Page resigned from the FBI. Mr. Strzok was fired. They promptly sued the federal government and the FBI and Justice Department for releasing their emails, which revealed all of this. The FBI settled that lawsuit for $1.2 million, gave Mr. Strzok $1.2 million cash, gave Ms. Page, who resigned. She wasn't fired, she resigned, she quit. Gave her $800,000. Who, if the FBI made that decision to give them money?
That settlement was reached in the Biden administration when my predecessor was the director.
Who? Are you saying that Chris Wray did?
The only people that can decide that settlement are the Attorney General in conjunction with the director and the administration.
Okay, so you're telling me that Attorney General Garland and Director Wray decided to give them the money. Is
Yes,
that right?
sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, when you took over the FBI, did you find instances of where under the Biden administration the FBI had weaponized the agency to push the political beliefs of President Biden?
Sorry, the last part?
When you took over the FBI, did you find instances of where the Biden administration had politicized the FBI to prosecute his political agenda?
Well, I won't speak for other people. Haven't been a target of that weaponization, haven't been a staffer on the House Intelligence Committee, having had the Justice Department weaponized against me for making the findings and leading the investigation of Russiagate. I know what that feels like, and that's why as the FBI director, I'm committing to not ever have that ever happen again, but I'm also committed to fully investigating what was done, and that matter is still ongoing.
So I assume, I take it your answer is yes.
Yes, sir.
And you're firing those people, is that right?
Anyone that politicizes their job at the FBI will not work at the FBI.
Okay. You've heard some of my colleagues either implicitly or otherwise suggest that you have politicized the FBI to prosecute the political beliefs of President Trump. Is that true?
I don't know how that can be true when the stats that I cited, to include the 23,000 arrests, 6,000 weapons seized, 1,600 gang and criminal enterprise organizations, 4,700 children found and rescued, more enough fentanyl seized to kill a third of America. The men and women of the FBI are now on an apolitical mission, and this is why the numbers are historic in 7
Have you
months.
fired people because they voted for Vice President Harris?
I don't ask people who they vote for, and neither does the FBI.
Okay. But you've given people polygraphs, have you not?
Many people in the FBI take polys.
The FBI does that all the time.
Yes, sir.
Does it not?
Yes,
For a
sir.
long time, is that correct?
Decades.
All right. I want to ask you about the Epstein files. Have you seen the Epstein files?
I have not reviewed the entirety of it myself, but a good amount.
Okay. Would it be fair to say that Mr. Epstein trafficked young women, including in some instances minors, for sex to himself?
That was specifically the allegations in the 2018 indictment in the Southern District of New York.
Okay. Who else did he traffic these young women to?
In terms of what the investigation, again, going back to 2008, Mr. Acosta, who limited the investigation and limited the search warrants and limited the parameters of the investigation, the only thing we are able to speak to publicly, because he was given a non-prosecution agreement by Mr. Acosta, is that first time period from, I believe, don't quote me on this, 97 to 2001-ish. And then when the Trump administration courageously reopened it.
Excuse me for interrupting, but I'm going to run out of time. You've seen most of the files. Who, if anyone, did Epstein traffic these young women to besides himself?
Himself. There is no credible information. None. If there were, I would bring the case yesterday that he trafficked to other individuals. And the information we have, again, is limited.
So the answer is no one
For the information that we have
in the files?
in the case file.
Okay. Now, President Trump has deferred to the FBI and the Department of Justice with respect to the Epstein records. He says it is your call about releasing them. And I understand that the department and the agency have decided to release them in cooperation with the House committee. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
So you're releasing them a little bit at a time. Is that correct?
We're releasing as much as we can, but we are limited by 3 different court orders, and the department went back to each of those judges to waive those court orders or have them lifted, and each of those judges declined.
Will you release all of them, or at least as many as you can?
We will release everything we are legally permitted to do so. We are continuing to work with the House on the subpoena request. We have substantially complied with it, but we will continue to release whatever we are legally permitted to do so.
Okay. I strongly encourage you to do that. Kash, this issue's not going to go away. And I think the central question for the American people is this. They know that Epstein trafficked young women for sex to himself. They want to know who, if anyone else, he trafficked these young women to. And that's a very fair question. I want to know that answer. And I think you're going to have to to do more to satisfy the American people's understandable curiosity in that regard.
Mr. Chairman, may I just respond to that? I agree, Senator. And what we have done, and just to remind folks, the Epstein case files existed in the two prior administrations, in the Obama administration and the Biden administration, and they didn't release anything. And there was President Trump in the first administration that renewed charges against Mr. Epstein. And I know it's a little complicated to understand, but what exists in the Epstein case files was a direct result of the limited search warrants from 2006 and 7, which hamstrung future investigations because of the non-prosecution agreement. And multiple administrations had the opportunity to look at the entirety of that case file and recommend prosecutions against anyone that was trafficked under Mr. Epstein and anyone that participated in that trafficking. And the only person to bring charges was the prior administration against Mr. Epstein. Now, I am not saying that others were not trafficked and others were not involved. What I am telling you is that based on the information we have, and we have continuously and publicly asked for the public to come forward with more information. If there is, we'll look at it. But based on credible information, we have released all credible information, and the information that the Department of Justice and the FBI never releases is information on investigations that are not credible. And we don't release the names of victims who weren't credible. But in the same time, we don't release the names of victims who were credible. And so that's by law. And so the information we are releasing now is historic, and it is also to the maximum capacity that the law allows. And I know that's not going to satisfy many, many, many people. But if they wanted it done right, then the investigation from its origination should have been done right, and he should not have been given a get-out-of-jail-free card to do jail on the weekends for 12 hours a day, and he should have been investigated fully for the entirety of his crime and criminal enterprise, not just from 1997 to 2001.
Senator Blumenthal.
Thank you, Mr. Patel.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Director.
What you just witnessed wasn't just another political showdown, it was a raw exposure of the corruption festering inside our most trusted institutions. We heard direct testimony from the FBI director, confirming not only the mishandling of cases, but also the complicit actions of previous administrations in covering up vital information that should have been made public. This isn't just a problem with one agency or one case, it's systemic. Take, for example, the case of Jeffrey Epstein. The director confirmed that the FBI, despite holding key files, has still not released critical information to the American public. We're talking about a man who trafficked young women, including minors, to powerful figures, yet we're left with more questions than answers. Why has it taken this long? Why hasn't the full truth come out? This isn't just about Epstein's crimes, it's about the entire system that allowed him to operate with impunity for so long. The very agencies that should be protecting the public, the FBI, the Justice Department, are now being exposed for their lack of transparency and, worse yet, their failure to act decisively. The fact that the FBI had evidence, but only chose to act when pushed by external forces and public pressure, says everything about the power structure in place. They protect each other, and in doing so, they failed the very people they swear to protect. And then we saw how the FBI settled with former agents like Peter Strzok and Lisa Page, who had let their political bias influence their work. $1.2 million of taxpayer money went to those individuals. And for what? For having their personal agendas interfere with the agency's core mission? That's $1.2 million of our money that could have been spent on better protecting citizens or exposing deeper corruption within the system. Instead, it was used to reward failure. How much more taxpayer money is being squandered? How many other cases have been mishandled? And where is the accountability? It's clear that this is not just about bad actors in a few key positions. This is the result of a much larger institutional failure. The system is rigged to protect itself. Those in power look out for one another, leaving the public, the real victims, in the dark. This was made all the more evident when the director discussed the FBI's role in the Epstein case. While they claim to be releasing as much information as they can, what does that really mean? Why are court orders preventing the full release of files? Are they genuinely trying to uncover the full extent of Epstein's network? Or is there something much darker being hidden? The public deserves to know who else was involved in his criminal enterprise. But the FBI is holding back, citing legal restrictions that seem more like convenient excuses. The most damning part? The fact that other administrations had the chance to release these files, but chose not to. The Obama administration and the Biden administration Both had the opportunity to act, and yet it was only the Trump administration that renewed charges against Epstein. So why hasn't the truth come out yet? Why hasn't the FBI pushed for a full investigation into all the powerful figures who may have been involved? This is the reality of the situation. The FBI has been politicized. Not only have certain individuals in the agency allowed their biases to infiltrate their work, but they have also protected powerful people at the expense of ordinary citizens. The American people have been waiting for the truth for years. We've seen it all, from the mishandling of the Russia investigation to the FBI's failure to adequately address the Epstein case. But what we're not seeing is justice. And this isn't just an issue with the FBI. It's about a culture of impunity in Washington that is now threatening the very foundation of our democracy. If we let these institutions continue to protect themselves and their own interests, we will only see more of the same, more cover-ups, more corruption, more broken promises. What does this all mean for the American people? It means that we are constantly left in the dark about the truth. It means that the systems that are supposed to serve and protect us are doing the opposite, prioritizing their own survival and power while we suffer the consequences. It's time we demand change. We need a government that is truly accountable to the people, not to its own interests or political agendas. We need transparency. We need answers. And most importantly, we need justice for those who have been wronged. No one is above the law, not even those in positions of power. So what can you do? Share this video. Share this message. Let the world know that we will not sit idly by while our institutions protect themselves and ignore the needs of the people. We will hold them accountable. We will continue to push for full transparency, and we will demand that these agencies do their jobs. If you want change, if you want real answers, then subscribe. Stay involved. Stay loud. The reckoning is coming, and it's time we make sure that the truth comes to light, no matter who it exposes. Share this video because it's time we hold these institutions accountable. Remember, the truth will come out, but only if we keep pushing for it. He just destroyed the FBI director's defense, exposing the broken promises and unreleased secrets of Epstein's criminal network. What's being hidden from the American people? You're about to see the truth unfold. Stay tuned, because the scandal runs deeper than anyone imagined. What you just witnessed was a powerful confrontation that tore the FBI's credibility wide open. Director Patel, under oath, was forced to defend the agency's failure to release the full Epstein files, despite previous claims that it was all under his control. His answers? A web of excuses and half-truths, each one revealing the chilling reality of how the FBI has mishandled one of the most notorious criminal investigations in modern history. Let's break this down. The director admitted that Epstein's black book, the key to understanding the full scope of his trafficking network, is under the FBI's control. But when asked why the agency hasn't released it, Patel pointed to court orders and legal restrictions, essentially shifting blame onto the judiciary. But the truth is, these court orders have been used to justify withholding information, and this isn't the first time this tactic has been employed. How many more court orders and restrictions are being used to protect the powerful figures connected to Epstein? The real scandal here is that despite claiming to have released everything under their control, what has been made public is only a tiny fraction of the evidence. The question is, why is the FBI withholding the rest? What's so dangerous about the remaining files? Is there a larger conspiracy to protect the influential people Epstein trafficked to? And why has the FBI been so slow to act, allowing years of investigations to slip by without major consequences? Let's not forget, Epstein's crimes were exposed years ago, yet nothing substantial was done until a massive public outcry and legal pressure forced action. This isn't just an issue of one case, it's a systemic failure within our institutions. The FBI, once a symbol of justice, is now a part of the power structure that protects the rich and powerful while disregarding the victims. And these victims, young women, children, remain hidden in the shadows of bureaucracy. Director Patel, in his testimony, didn't just dodge questions. He admitted that the previous administrations, both Obama and Biden, had the same opportunity to release Epstein's files, but chose not to. It's a disturbing realization that political power plays a major role in how cases like Epstein's are handled. Why should the FBI wait for public pressure to act? Why should these cases be dictated by political agendas rather than by justice? What's truly infuriating is that Patel continued to justify these actions under the guise of protecting the rule of law. But what about the law that protects the victims? What about the countless individuals whose lives were shattered because of the FBI's failure to investigate and prosecute those connected to Epstein's trafficking operation? Let's take a moment to reflect on this. The American people have been waiting for years for the truth. They've been lied to, manipulated, and deceived by the very institutions that were supposed to protect them. The FBI was supposed to be the one shining beacon of justice, but now they are no better than those who perpetuated the crimes Epstein was accused of. The director's refusal to release the full files is a direct attack on transparency and accountability. It's not just about Epstein. It's about the lack of justice for his victims and the continued protection of the powerful. But the American people have had enough. We deserve answers and we demand accountability. The public has a right to know the truth, and no court order should stand in the way of that. This is a fight for truth, for justice, and for the victims who have been silenced for far too long. If we allow these institutions to continue operating without accountability, we are allowing the system to perpetuate its own corruption. So, what can we do? We can demand transparency, share this video, share this message, let the world know that the truth cannot be hidden any longer. Subscribe for updates on this case and more, because the fight for justice is far from over. We won't stop until the full truth comes out, and until the victims get the justice they deserve. Remember, no one is above the law, not even those in the FBI. The reckoning is coming, and we need to make sure it's not too late for those who have been silenced for far too long. Share this video, subscribe, and stay loud, because the truth is out there, and it's time we make sure it's heard.